Google Maps almost sent us to our deaths, and I'll never blindly trust GPS again.
You know, it's kind of funny how much we just trust our phones for everything, right? Like banking, ordering food, finding some random Airbnb. You just pull up Google Maps and assume, yeah, it'll get me there. No problem.
It usually works out, yeah. Mostly seamless. But today we're diving into this one specific Reddit post. It's from You At a Guess in Nowhere. The title really grabs you. Google Maps almost sent us to our deaths, and I'll never blindly trust GPS again.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, it just perfectly hits that that conflict between digital ease and, well, real-world danger when that trust breaks down.
Right. So our mission here is to unpack that story, this kind of extreme road trip example, Phoenix to a cabin in northern Arizona, and really see what it tells us about that fine line, you know, between convenience and just needing to pay attention.
Exactly. So it started out pretty normal, just a chill 3-day weekend planned for the user and his girlfriend. She's his fiance now, actually.
A nice little getaway. And then the girlfriend finds this route on Google Maps, the shorter route.
Yeah, promising to, I think the post said, shave off about an hour.
Which always sounds great, doesn't it? You grab your coffee, your snacks. He mentioned trail mix versus her sour gummy worms, a classic road trip debate.
Right. Got the playlist going. What could possibly go wrong? They started on the highway, totally normal.
What then?
Then Google tells them to take an exit off the main highway, and the road was, let's say, smaller, less paved. That was the first little, okay moment.
That's where it starts to unravel. So the pavement just ended.
Abruptly turned to dirt, like he described it as a path for trucks with huge tires.
Okay, not ideal for a regular car.
Not at all. Then it went from dirt to gravel, and then, his words, a suggestion of where a road might be if you squinted hard enough.
Oh, man. And inside the car.
Total chaos, apparently. Bouncing so much, his coffee was like a paint shaker, glove box popped open, trail mix everywhere.
I can picture it. And the girlfriend who suggested the route?
He described her look as, I love you, but I'm questioning every choice that brought me here. You know, that dawning realization that maybe the tech isn't always right.
And then it gets worse, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Critical point. They lose cell service. So the cheerful Google voice just stops. The map freezes. And bam, they're completely isolated. In a Honda Civic, middle of nowhere.
That's the nightmare scenario right there. Total reliance, then nothing.
And the, quote, road just kept getting worse. Steep, winding climb. Narrower and narrower. Branches actually scraping the side mirrors.
Jeez.
And then they see it. This faded, kind of half-buried sign that just says, not maintained.
That's not good. That's really not good. So the map didn't know this?
Apparently not. Or the data was just wrong. Because the danger level just shot up. The gravel turned into loose rocks like the size of softballs.
Softballs? How do you even drive on that?
Tires were spinning more than gripping.
Okay.
And the edge of this track, it just dropped straight down. Looked like a canyon. No guardrail, nothing.
Just one bad swerve away from disaster.
That's the worst part. They realized there was absolutely no safe place to turn the car around without risking just sliding right off the edge. They were trapped.
Unbelievable. So what did they do? Just keep going?
Thankfully, no. They eventually found what he called a tiny clearing. Just enough space to attempt to turn.
Must have been nerve-wracking.
He said heading back down was somehow even worse, because now gravity was actively, his term was, trying to yeet us into the canyon.
Okay, yet captures the feeling, I guess. Terrifying.
Totally. But they made it. They got back to actual pavement. Cell service popped back on.
And Google Maps
cheerfully rerouted them, added another 50 miles to the original route as if nothing had happened.
Wow. Just like that. So they finally get to the cabin.
Yeah, almost 3 hours late, covered in dust, the car's making some weird new noise, and probably still finding trail mix months later.
What a story. And his big takeaway.
His new rule, basically, is if Google Maps ever says this route saves 58 minutes, what it means is this route saves 58 minutes if you have a lifted Jeep, 3 spare tires, and a death wish.
That sums it up pretty well. It really drives home that even these tools we trust implicitly, like GPS, they have limits. That promise of a shortcut isn't always what it seems. It can be actively dangerous.
And I think the bigger point here isn't just about needing a four-wheel drive sometimes. It's about the algorithms themselves. They're often optimizing for one thing, like speed or distance, maybe based on incomplete or just plain old data about the terrain.
Right. They don't always grasp the reality of the situation on the ground.
Exactly. So it raises this really important question, you know. Where do we draw the line? When do we stop blindly following the digital directions and start trusting our own judgment, especially when what we're seeing directly contradicts the screen?
That's the crucial thing, using the tech, but not letting it override common sense or what's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something for you to think about. What other kinds of shortcuts are we all taking, maybe digitally, maybe otherwise, without really seeing the full path ahead? Or understanding the risks that might be hidden just off the suggested route. Something to mull over next time you just hit navigate.
My coworker tried to set me up for $1 million screw-up.
Okay, let's get into this. So imagine this. You're facing like $1 million problem at work.
Oof. Yeah.
Right. But it's not even your mistake. Someone else set it up. We found this Reddit post. It's titled, "My coworker tried to set me up for $1 million screw-up."
And that's pretty much the story, yeah. It's wild.
It really is.
And, this deep dive, it's really about extracting some crucial lessons here.
Yeah.
About professional vigilance, basically.
Right, like spotting trouble before it hits you.
Exactly. Recognizing those red flags, figuring out how to protect yourself from these, hidden liabilities.
Yeah.
And just navigating those really tricky corporate dynamics.
All from this one person's, frankly, startling experience.
Yeah, startling is the word.
So our mission, let's unpack this incredible story. Understand the setup, see the warning signs, and crucially, look at the smart moves that stopped what could have been a total disaster.
A career-ending, potentially life-altering disaster.
Okay, so the setup. Our anonymous author, right? They work in contracts.
Yeah.
Manufacturing company. Their job involves reading these, long PDFs, making sure all the numbers match up.
Sounds pretty standard, maybe a bit tedious, but straightforward work.
Totally. Until Rick shows up, this coworker, Rick, known for being kind of flashy.
Ah, the type.
Yeah, and apparently had this habit of, let's say, delegating his work down to junior folks.
Right, pushing tasks off.
And then, swooping in to take the credit himself.
Okay, and that right there, that kind of behavior pattern, taking credit, delegating downwards inappropriately, those are often early warnings, yellow flags maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely. You shouldn't just ignore stuff like that. It might seem small, but it can, set the stage for something much worse down the line.
Okay, good point. So fast forward to one Tuesday. Rick comes over to our Reddit user's desk. Big smile, apparently.
Uh-oh. The charm offensive.
Totally. He's got this thick contract binder. Says it's for a rush project.
Always a rush project.
Right. Claims a project manager just needed a final check. And, of course, he was totally slammed.
Of course. Too busy himself.
Seemed like just a simple favor, asking for a quick look over. But when our user opened that binder, two things immediately jumped out.
Okay, this is where that critical thinking really kicks in. What were they?
Well, first, the contract. It was already signed by their company.
Wait, signed before the final check? That's highly unusual.
Very unusual. That's red flag number one.
Right,
And
big time. And the second thing?
the numbers. They just didn't add up. There was this section, materials and fabrication.
Right,
Okay. And it was off by a decimal point. What should have been like $100,000
Yeah.
was written as $1 million. $1 million just sitting there in bold print.
Whoa, okay, that's not a typo you just missed. $1 million.
$1 million. And the way the payment schedules and the liabilities were set up, basically, if the client decided to back out for any reason,
Let me guess.
the company would be on a hook for that full $1 million.
Oh my God.
And then, this is the kicker, the absolute betrayal, our user's name, explicitly typed into the responsible party box on the contract.
No. Seriously. Their name.
Their name.
Okay, stepping back now, that's not an accident. For a name to be in that specific box, someone had to deliberately put it there. It wasn't just like a formatting glitch.
Exactly. And they checked the metadata notes on the document, the digital footprint.
Shows who did what, when, the audit trail.
It confirmed it. Rick's name was right there. Last modified by Rick.
Wow. So this wasn't some weird mistake. This was an intentional setup, cold-blooded.
Can you imagine that moment?
Yeah.
The realization? Chilling. But here's where our Reddit user was really smart. Strategic.
Okay, what did they do? I'd be tempted to storm over to Rick's desk.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't confront Rick immediately. Why? Because, corporate politics.
Oh, right. Going sideways, confronting a peer directly.
Yeah, especially without proof lockdown or
Yeah.
talking to management first. It could actually backfire, make them look like the difficult one.
Smart thinking under pressure. So what was the move?
They photocopied everything, the contract pages, the metadata printout. Then they emailed themselves the PDF version. Why?
Timestamp. Digital proof of when they had it, exactly as it was. Irrefutable documentation.
Exactly. Only then did they go to their manager.
That is textbook perfect handling of a potentially explosive situation. You need that hard evidence.
And when legal got involved,
Oh, I bet they did.
they confirmed everything. Rick had indeed tried to fast-track this deal. Apparently, he was chasing a quarterly bonus.
Figures. So the $1 million liability wasn't just overlooked.
No, Rick was actively trying to offload that massive risk directly onto our user.
Unbelievable. And pinning it with their name in the box.
And get this, the client involved. They apparently had a pretty sketchy payment history, too.
Oh, lovely. So the risk of them backing out wasn't even theoretical.
Exactly. If our user had just skimmed it, maybe trusted Rick, signed off, they would have been solely responsible.
Job gone. Probably legal trouble, too. Wow.
So what happened to Rick? Fired on the spot.
Well, you know how these things go in the corporate world. Rarely instant.
True.
He wasn't fired immediately, but after what was termed a pattern of behavior emerged.
The pattern.
Yes. He eventually resigned to pursue other opportunities.
The classic exit line.
Indeed. And the long-term impact. Our user apparently still keeps that photocopy, like a personal insurance policy.
Wow. I don't blame them. What a story. It's a powerful testament, isn't it? Why you can't just blindly trust even people on your own team sometimes.
Absolutely not. Vigilance is key.
So wrapping this up, what does this whole thing mean for you listening? I mean, this story, it's a huge reminder, right? The most dangerous traps, they often look like simple favors.
Exactly. A quick look over, right?
Yeah. The core lesson here feels crystal clear. Always read the fine print, especially, maybe most especially, when your name is anywhere near it.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, it just hammers home the vital skill of critical thinking. It's not just, what you're asked to do.
Right, it's more than that.
It's understanding the potential ripples, the consequences, the unseen liabilities that might be lurking, which brings up an important question for you to think about.
Okay.
Where in your own professional life could there be an innocent-looking request? Or maybe some detail you've overlooked that might actually hide a significant personal risk. What's the fine print, so to speak, that maybe you aren't seeing right now?
Bought a car, and a week later, it was listed as stolen.
But picture this. You're maybe feeling a bit squeezed financially. Your trusty old car finally gives up the ghost, right? And you need wheels, like yesterday. So you're scrolling, dreading the whole used car thing, trying not to get ripped off. Then boom, you see it. A 2015 Honda Civic. Looks great, miles are decent, and listen to this, it's only $6,000. It's like, what, $2,500 under Kelley Blue Book? You feel amazing, like you crack the code. You buy it, drive it home, feeling like a total winner. But what if just 1 week later, that dream deal explodes, and you find out that car, it's listed as stolen?
Yeah, that's exactly the nightmare scenario where it comes from a Reddit user. You accidental felon. The post title says it all. Bought a car, and a week later it was listed as stolen. And look, our goal here isn't about blame. It's about pulling apart this, well, frankly, wild story. We want to understand how someone ends up an accidental suspect in Grand Theft Auto, out $6,000, and carless, really, it's about digging out those crucial lessons so, you can hopefully avoid the same thing.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty then. This user, accidental felon, they make it clear they're no criminal. Just someone who's, I think it was a 2006 Corolla. Yeah, the transmission died. Sold it for scrap. So, like most people, they hit Facebook Marketplace looking for a replacement, waded through some junk, and then found this 2015 Civic. Looked clean, decent mileage, no red flags like a rebuild title or anything obvious. The seller, let's call him Steve, like the source did, he had a story for the low price. Said he needed cash fast because he was upgrading to an SUV. But looking back, the huge discount, meeting in a Walmart parking lot, those things kind of scream danger, don't they?
They absolutely do. And that's a great question. Why do we sometimes ignore those signals? It really taps into the psychology of a good deal, that feeling of urgency, maybe scarcity. Scammers, like the Steve character, they leverage that. They cook up a plausible story. Need fast cash is a classic to make the low price seem like a lucky break for you. They want you to feel rushed, bypass your critical thinking. So despite the flags you mentioned, everything looked okay on the surface for our narrator. Steve had the paper title in his name. It matched the VIN, the vehicle identification number. He even gave a bill of sale. Looked totally legit.
Wow. Okay, so they handed over the $6,000 in cash.
Yep, cash. Got the keys, drove off, probably feeling pretty great. Like they'd scored big time. But the critical error, and this is key for you listening, is what didn't happen before that cash changed hands.
Right. So for a whole week, everything's fine. They're driving the car, feeling good. Then exactly 7 days later, they're leaving work. See a police car, a black and white Dodge Charger. Cops pull up, check the plate, scan the VIN through the windshield. And, they tell the driver the car's reported stolen.
Exactly. Turns out it was stolen from a dealership in Ohio, like 2 months before. This Steve guy, he'd apparently just forged a title to flip the car quickly.
Oh, man. And this is where the legal reality just slams down, right? Paying in good faith doesn't actually help you here.
Not in this situation, no. That's one of the hardest parts. Legally speaking, even though our narrator paid, believing it was all above board, the car still belonged to the dealership, the original rightful owner. You just can't get legal title to stolen property, even if you're an innocent buyer. It's a tough lesson.
So the car gets towed.
Car gets towed. The narrator has to give a statement to a detective. They described it as humbling, explaining the whole Facebook Marketplace thing. And that $6,000, just gone. Poof. Steve, naturally, disappeared. Phone disconnected, Facebook profile vanished. Probably used a fake name from the start.
And now the narrator's driving their mom's minivan, a beige minivan. That really adds insult to injury.
It really does. It brings home the personal cost. And the source's own conclusion is pretty blunt. If the deal seems too good to be true, it's probably stolen. But, to be more practical for you, this likely could have been avoided. Things like insisting on meeting at the DMV to do the title transfer right there. Or crucially, running the VIN yourself through a police check or a state database before any money changes hands. Also, checking the seller's ID against the name on the title. Little steps, but they make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big message for you listening is really about that extreme caution.
Yeah.
When a deal feels almost too good, especially private sales online, that should be your trigger. Time to pump the brakes and run that checklist. Do that extra homework. Don't let the steal blind you.
Right. And maybe think bigger picture for a second. This isn't just about cars, is it? What does this whole story tell us about navigating, any online marketplace? Any peer-to-peer transaction? How do you balance wanting a good deal, which we all do, with doing that necessary homework? Especially when, like in this case, a scammer can put up such a convincing front, something for you to chew on next time you spot that perfect deal online.
Got fired for doing my job too well.
Can being, too good at your job actually cause problems? We're digging into just one source today, but it's pretty revealing. It's a Reddit post from someone called Spreadsheet Samurai, and the title says it all. Got fired for doing my job too well.
Yeah.
So our goal here is to unpack the story, figure out how exceptional competence ended up being a career killer. Okay, so Spreadsheet Samurai, that's our protagonist, was a data analyst, mid-sized logistics company somewhere in Ohio. And the company had this major issue, their shipping process. Painfully slow, really inefficient. Orders kept getting flagged for manual checks over, the silliest things. A misspelled street, missing the extra 4 digits on a ZIP code, stuff like that. And it caused massive delays. We're talking hours, sometimes days, just for these tiny data errors, it seems. Absurd.
Oh, yeah, that's textbook corporate inefficiency. You see it all the time. These manual processes, they start for a good reason maybe, but then they just become these huge bottlenecks. Especially for simple data stuff that automation can easily handle. They sort of become sacred cows, Nobody touches them.
Right. And Spreadsheet Samurai saw this, clearly. So what did they do? On their own time, over a weekend, they wrote a Python script. It wasn't anything crazy complex like AI or machine learning, just a smart script. It scanned for those common errors, typos, weird abbreviations,
Yeah.
It could even grab the missing ZIP plus 4 digits automatically using the official USPS data. And the really smart part, it only flagged the real problems, the true anomalies for a human to look at. And guess what? There weren't many. The change was, immediate. Orders that took days, now done in minutes. Reports ready before lunch. At first, it was just their own little productivity boost. But then they shared it with the team. And morale went up. Things got way more efficient. Upper management even sent out a company-wide email praising the amazing improvement. Our analyst was basically an office hero for a bit.
It's fascinating, isn't it? That initial praise happens a lot with this kind of unsanctioned innovation. It really highlights attention. Companies say they want efficiency, results, but they often resist the actual disruption that comes with real innovation, especially if it didn't go through, all the proper channels first.
Exactly. And then things took a really sharp turn. After all that public praise, suddenly there's this vague meeting invite. Quick chat, HR and IT are there, and they tell Spreadsheet Samurai they're being let go. Terminated the reasons they gave. Overstepped role, introduced unapproved software, and get this, created a dependency on non-vetted automation.
What do you think was really going on?
Well,
Those official reasons, they often feel like a bit of a smokescreen, right? The automation didn't just fix things. It kind of exposed how much of that manual review work wasn't really necessary. And that can be threatening, especially to maybe middle managers whose roles or even whole departments were kind of built around managing that inefficiency, these little fiefdoms of inefficiency, as the post implies. It wasn't about the software itself, maybe. It was about what the software revealed about the existing structure.
So officially, failure to follow process. But unofficially, the uncomfortable truth was they fixed a problem that maybe some people didn't actually want solved. Our Spreadsheet Samurai, they're freelancing now, says they work for companies that actually want things to work better. And their takeaway, the moral of the story from the post itself, is pretty chilling. In corporate America, you can be bad at your job and stay forever. Be too good, and you're a threat.
Oof. Yeah. Oof is right. It's such a stark illustration of that conflict, isn't it? Efficiency and real innovation versus entrenched structures and maybe existing power dynamics. It really makes you question how organizations genuinely value contributions that shake things up, even if those shakeups are objectively good for business.
So the question for you listening,
Yeah.
what does this all mean? Is there actually a point where being too competent backfires within certain systems? Or is this story just shining a light on a pretty deep flaw in some company cultures? Definitely something to think about in your own world.
got a call from someone claiming they had my mom hostage, and I believed them for 20 of the longest minutes of my life.
Really quite frightening that happens more often than you'd think. The hostage scam call.
Yeah, and this isn't just abstract. We're looking at a first-person account, someone sharing, 20 minutes that felt like forever.
Exactly. It comes from Reddit, Archer off my chest. Super raw, very real time.
And our goal here really is to understand how these scams work, because they're sophisticated and they prey on something deep, even when, logically you think, I'd never fall for that.
Mm-hmm. So let's paint the picture. It's a Tuesday morning, totally normal.
Right. Desk, coffee, maybe checking emails.
Random number calls, you pick up, and boom, this urgent kind of gravelly voice says, "We have your mother."
Instantly. No preamble, just straight into the terror.
And the reaction described, it's visceral. Brain just stops. Cold feeling in the chest, sweaty palms, heart absolutely pounding.
It's pure panic, not like watching a movie. It's happening to you.
Yeah, that's that amygdala hijack you hear about, right?
Precisely. Your brain's alarm system just takes the wheel. It bypasses the logical part, the prefrontal cortex.
So you're not thinking rationally at all.
Not really. Yeah. And the source describes this barrage of threats like, no funny business, and then hearing a muffled voice crying, saying, "Help me."
And crucially, it sounded exactly like their mom.
That's the hook. It overrides everything else. It's that protective instinct kicking in, creating this intense focus only on the threat, like tunnel vision.
Cognitive tunneling, yeah. So the person's grabbing their keys, shaking, running out the door.
Completely overwhelmed. And the scammer's whispering threats the whole time. We're watching you, know where you live. Terrible things like send her back in pieces.
Oh, God. Just pure psychological warfare. Designed to isolate you, keep you panicked, pushing you towards, a Bitcoin ATM usually?
Often, yeah. It's fast, harder to trace. So the victim's driving, trying to stay calm, play along.
Okay.
But then something interesting happens. The caller slips up.
A mistake.
A tiny one. They say your wife instead of your mother. Corrected it quickly, but still.
In that fog of panic, though, would you even catch that?
Apparently, yes. It was like this little crack in the facade. A tiny anchor back to reality.
Wow. Okay. So that little slip was enough.
It seems so. It let a thought break through the panic. Wait a second, Mom's at work. She always texts me around 9:30.
And they check the clock.
Yep, it's 9:32. Sends a quick text, "Are you okay?"
Holding their breath, I imagine.
Absolutely. And then maybe 10 seconds later, the reply comes.
What did it say?
Yeah, just shelving books. Why?
Oh, the relief. Must have been overwhelming.
Totally. The source said it was almost physically debilitating. They hung up immediately, blocked the number.
But even knowing it was fake, did the feeling just vanish?
No, and that's fascinating. The unease, that sort of physical residue of fear, it lingered. It shows how deep that primal fear response goes. The body remembers even when the mind knows it's over.
So pulling back, what's the main takeaway here? For me, it's how easily fear, when targeted correctly, can just steamroll logic.
Absolutely. These aren't random calls. They're crafted. They know which buttons to push our deepest protective instincts.
And that lingering physical feeling really drives home how potent that manipulation is.
Mm-hmm. And get this, the person who shared the story. Their mom had also received similar calls, but with them as the supposed hostage.
No way. So the scammers adapt, they hit different family members?
Exactly. They target that vulnerability, those family connections, from multiple angles. It's relentless.
Okay, so here's something to leave you thinking about. We live in this world just flooded with information, right? Digital everything.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
If one tiny slip up, one wrong word like wife instead of mother, can be the key that breaks such a powerful, fear-driven illusion,
Yeah.
how much more carefully do we need to listen? How much more attentive should we be to those small inconsistencies, the little tells in all the information hitting us every day? What other slips are out there, maybe hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to notice?
What I learned after 3 months living in a tent in the woods.
It's a personal story from Reddit called What I Learned After 3 Months Living in a Tent in the Woods.
Yeah, it's quite the account. Really raw.
Totally. And our mission for you today is to explore these, surprising realities. What someone learned living off-grid, not because they wanted to, but because they had to.
Mm-hmm.
What does living with less actually look like? What, truths pop up when you're pushed right to the edge?
And what really grabs me is how that initial idea of maybe adventure just evaporates.
Right.
It becomes about pure survival. The insights from that shift are fascinating.
Absolutely. And the person writing this makes it super clear they weren't some, survival expert or influencer.
Not at all.
They just, quote, ran out of options. Landlord sold the house. Rent went sky high. Sell a kidney high, they said.
Wow.
And zero savings.
So it starts with crashing on couches
Ah.
and ends with finding a tent on Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly. A barely used tent pitched out in state forest land, like a 40-minute drive from town.
Just thrown into it, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And at first, they tried to frame it like a, weird little adventure.
I can imagine trying to do that.
Quiet, peaceful, waking up with the sun, making coffee. That whole vibe.
But that feeling didn't last long, I take it.
Not at all. That dissolved fast. Reality check incoming.
Yeah, week 2 hit hard. Biblical downpour was the phrase used.
Oh.
Everything got damp, including, quote, their soul led to actual tears.
I can believe it. And the cold. It was March, right?
Oh, the cold was brutal. Bone-chilling nights. We're talking 3 layers of clothes, hats pulled way down.
And that trick with the water bottle?
Yeah, boiling water in a Gatorade bottle just to keep their feet warm at night. Think about that.
That level of discomfort,
Yeah.
it's hard to really grasp. Basic warmth, gone.
And food became what they called a military operation.
Because of spoilage.
Exactly. Your options shrink dramatically. Instant oatmeal, peanut butter, tuna, rice, beans, pasta, that kind of stuff.
And the cooler was useless.
That $25 cooler promising 5 days of ice. Yeah, right. A total lie, apparently.
Okay, so you're cold, damp, hungry, and then come the animals.
Oh, yes. The wildlife. First, a raccoon encounter. Kind of funny at first, watching it figure out Velcro for a granola bar.
Chuckles softly. Sneaky little things.
But that turned into a real problem fast. They had to learn to hang all their food up in trees.
Standard camper knowledge, but probably stressful when it's all your food.
Definitely. But the real fear, hearing something big breathing right outside the tent fabric.
Oh, man.
Probably just a deer, they figured later, but in the moment, felt like a serial killer in a bear suit.
That phrase, it just nails the vulnerability, doesn't it? That deep-seated fear.
Totally. Constant low-level anxiety. It must have been exhausting.
So, besides the physical struggle, the cold, the food, these bear-suited killers,
Slight chuckle.
the psychological side sounds just as tough. Isolation, especially.
Yeah, the writer called that the worst part. That initial quiet they liked. It became heavy, like it was pressing against them.
That's a powerful description.
And that need for human connection, it drove them to do things like just walk around Target.
Just to be near people.
Yeah, just to hear background noise, feel less alone. The phone was a lifeline. Streaming YouTube, podcasts, burning through data just for the sound of voices.
Wow. Just to feel not completely cut off.
Yeah.
It really highlights how social we are.
Deeply.
It wasn't all bad, right? The account mentioned some good moments, too.
Yes, absolutely. There were moments of real beauty, mist in the trees, sunlight on water droplets.
Noticing small things.
Exactly. The smell of the air after rain, specific birds, the way moonlight lit up the forest, real moments of presence.
And they learned skills, too, out of necessity.
For sure. Practical stuff. Patching the tent with duct tape, making a stove windscreen from a soda can, getting a fire going even with damp wood.
Resourceful. And maybe the biggest lesson learned.
Showers. Showers are not optional luxuries.
Definitely not.
Gas station bathrooms, a cheap $10 gym membership. Those became like spa days. Lingering under that hot water felt like, quote, the gates of heaven.
I bet. So after 3 months of this, what changed?
Physically, lost 15 pounds, got stronger. Mentally, tolerance for discomfort shot way up.
But tolerance for other things.
Tolerance for BS, as they put it, went way down. A showman perspective.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the core takeaway that hits you hardest from this whole story?
For me, it's that line they drew, how thin the line is between adventure and homelessness.
Yeah.
It smashes that romantic idea of roughing it, waking up freezing at 3 a.m., losing food to raccoons, the panic when the sun starts to set. That's not adventure. That's survival.
It forces you to confront, well, privilege, I guess. Basic needs we just assume will always be met.
Completely. It redefines what basic even means.
So how do we, listening to this, really take that on board without having to live in a tent?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? In our comfort, our convenience, are we maybe missing out on certain lessons that only struggle or doing with less can teach?
Something to think about. What stands out to you listening right now? For me, it's a stark reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can survive on way less.
But it's not pretty.
Not romantic, definitely not like the Instagram version.
Yeah.
And silence. It can heal you or it can totally eat you alive.
And raccoons are genuinely clever little pests.
Chuckles. And never, ever underestimate a hot shower.
Amen to that.
Maybe think about that today. What will you see a little differently after hearing this?
Yeah, what comfort are you maybe taking for granted? Worth pondering.
Thanks for being with us.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.